I don't think it's a surprise that Planes, Trains, and Visiting Cranes is one of my favourite episodes of Wings. I was so looking forward to reaching this episode again. I'd seen it before, absolutely loved it, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it again. This is the 16th episode of the third season of Wings. It's directed by Andy Ackerman, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it starts off in the plane with Joe flying, and Frasier is a passenger, and behind him is Lilith. They are going to Nantucket for Frasier's self-esteem seminar. I should point out, if you're not aware, I assume most people are, but Frasier is the character played by Kelsey Grammer, originally from Cheers, and then obviously the TV show Frasier. Lilith, played by Bebe Neuwirth, is his wife at the time. And Wings is created by some of the people behind Cheers. That's why we have several Cheers cameos in the show. And in this one, Frasier and Lilith are going to Nantucket, kind of for a vacation, but also Frasier is giving this self-esteem seminar. And they arrive at the airport, and Helen comes out of the kitchen and immediately gasps and starts shouting at Frasier, saying that he ruined her life and he owes her $350. And we get a little bit of suspense. We don't find out immediately why this is. It takes a couple of seconds, but then we learn that Frasier gave a seminar in New York, and Helen described it as taking the Crane train straight to hell. The Crane train is of Frasier's own creation, and she had a horrible experience. And she's referring to Frasier as a fraud, which is not comfortable to think about, particularly as if you have seen Cheers. And of course, Frasier, you'll know that he's not a fraud. He is a genuine psychiatrist. And Frasier tells her, come to my seminar here, and if you're not satisfied, I'll give you half of the money back from the previous seminar. And initially she wants all of the money. They settle on half. Fair enough. And the majority of the rest of the episode is the seminar. And even though it takes up a good chunk of time in this one room, this one location, the pacing is really great. I'll carry on with that in a moment, but we do have a subplot that I'll talk about very briefly, just to mention it. Brian's rented a giant screen TV to watch a fight on the television, and it's padding. It works well enough. It gets pretty interesting to see what big screen TVs used to look like back in the day. The rest of the episode and the rest of my thoughts, all about Frasier's seminar. And he's talking about the fact that if you can see it, you can be it. And he tries to get everybody to chant, see it, be it, see it, be it, see it, be it. And he's blowing a train whistle, and he's got a hat on, and he's clearly the conductor of this Crane train, which I rather liked. And as soon as he started to say, see it, be it, see it, be it, my first thought was, what would Niles say? I feel like Niles would have some snarky remark. Niles didn't exist at this point. This was 1992. But I did just immediately think Niles would find this funny, but not for the right reasons. Lilith is sitting in the seminar, and she will quite frequently make some dry remark, which I absolutely love. They didn't necessarily need to bring Lilith into this. They could have just done it with Frasier, but I'm so glad they did, because she's fabulous. I love her. And Frasier asks, what is stopping you from achieving your goals? Which I think is a really valid question. I think can help a lot of people evaluate where they are and what their stumbling blocks are. Helen has some great responses to these. For example, Frasier is stopping her achieving her goal because she just wants her money back. And Frasier is so fed up of Helen's constant comebacks that he brings her up onto the stage, and they ascertain quite quickly that actually all of the things that happened to her, the bad things, happened because of what happened with Joe. And Frasier points out that it's not his fault, it's not Helen's fault, it's Joe's fault. And this argument ensues, and then Brian comes into it, and they're arguing about Carol, and it gets very heated, and Frasier has had enough, and he has this huge outburst. Brilliant performance from Kelsey Grammer, of course, and he has this outburst, and then realizes that they were videotaping it the entire time so that he can sell the recordings of the seminar, kind of getting a little glimpse of the famous Frasier Crane here, which is, of course, a few years down the line. And he realizes, once he had his outbursts, the camera was on. He asks, is that camera running? To which Lilith replies, I hope so. I missed some of the earlier stuff. She's been taking notes this entire time and is honestly having a great time. And Frasier is not. he says everybody will get their refund. And what I love is that Helen told him, you don't need to give me your refund because I feel great. He helped her. And I think that that was so important because clearly this seminar has not gone according to plan. It doesn't look like he's helped anybody who paid to see this seminar. And he hasn't exactly done much for his own image either. So to have at least one person having found the seminar useful, I thought was really great to include, really valuable. Frasier in the moment didn't really think that, but I thought that worked really well. And then we end with Frasier and Lilith leave to go and carry on their vacation. And it turns out that Frasier said something she didn't like. This is off camera. And she hits him in the face with the train whistle. And Joe says that his money's on Morticia, referring, of course, to Lilith, which I liked, and it was a fun way to end the episode. Needless to say, Planes, Trains, and Visiting Cranes is a fabulous episode of Wings. Obviously, one that I really thoroughly enjoy. And if you've never seen Wings, but you're a fan of Cheers and Frasier, I do recommend it. You don't necessarily need to have seen any previous episodes to follow it if you just want to watch it for Frasier. But that being said, obviously the thing with Helen wouldn't make any sense without that context. So if you just want to jump into this episode, you will be able to follow it. But also, I do very much just recommend the show in general. It's brilliant, and so is Planes, Trains, and Visiting Cranes.